Now, we want to go to meteorologist Mike Seidel, who's in West Des Moines, Iowa. And Mike, being on the roads certainly can cause some challenges.
Yeah, like this one right here. We're in West Des Moines. This gentleman made the right turn on 51st Street, and he's stuck. We've got an officer from the West Des Moines Police. We've got our producer, Jamie Morrison. We've got some other bystanders that have pulled over, trying to get this car out of the snow. We've had over 5 inches in about 3 hours. It's powdery snow. Temperatures only in the low 20s. Fortunately, not a lot of wind, because if we did have a lot of wind, this stuff would blow around like crazy. Okay, we've got 4. Here we go. We're going to rock it back and forth. It is front-wheel drive, which is better than rear-wheel drive. But with rear-wheel drive, you're going nowhere. He's got front-wheel drive, but again, not a guarantee. Even with all-wheel drive, you can get stuck sometimes. But we're going to rock this car out, maybe. We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, as far as the snow goes, you can see on the radar more of that coming in from the southwest. Snow, and then down to the south, we've got mixed precipitation. Now, we're going to have snow here until early evening, but the heavier snow will back off here in the next couple of hours. And we're looking for storm totals from here across the I-80 corridor and then into Wisconsin, where Reynolds Wolf will be, Madison, Wisconsin, starting at 5, upwards of 10 to 12 inches. I think we got this guy out of here. Come on, come on. There you go. Nice. Teamwork. And he's off and running. So there you go. Nice to have the community pitch in, the old spirit of the holidays, and just trying to get someone out. But you can see what we've got at these intersections. They plowed the road, but they still have snow here. In fact, we just saw a convoy of plows come down the road, Chris. We've got the video. We'll show it to you. About 6 plows came through, and I think it's the first time they came down the road. It was like pushing like lava off the road. It was pretty amazing. We'll show you that video here in a few minutes. Chris?
And Mike, I was also looking, I think you have a camera set up across the street, and I was looking at the feed, and I saw something else that is a reminder, and that looked like a utility truck with a bucket. So freezing rain's a possibility, heavy wet snow, power outages. How concerned are you about power outages, Mike? And here's that camera I was just talking about. And if you look off to the right of the screen next to the map that says through Wednesday in Winter Storm Ivy, that's where Mike is, behind that van that's going by. He's on that corner, and this corner here showing the whole intersection. And I saw just a few moments ago one of the utility trucks go by, and Mike said he saw a whole convoy of snowplows go by. So it takes a lot of effort to clean up, clear out, and recover from a snowstorm. Mike, what are your thoughts on power outages with this?
Not concerned, not really concerned about power outages here. This is a very powdery snow. Temperatures in the low 20s. Temperatures will rise a little bit overnight, but then the precip's going to kind of shut down. Now, we may have a little mix at the end, but not enough ice to cause any real issues, and not enough wind either. So I think we're in pretty good shape here in the Des Moines area as far as power goes. It's cold, though, low 20s, and tomorrow night and into Thursday morning, we're going to go down to about 4 or 5 degrees, almost as cold as they were Christmas morning here. They were 2 on Christmas morning and 4 on Christmas Eve morning. And by the way, they had their first snowstorm, Chris, back in mid-October. You may remember this. Now, the airport only had 2.1, but on the north side of town, north of I-80, I mean, it was just a log jam on the 80. And up in Ankeny on the north side, they had 8 inches of snow in mid-October. So some have already had a big storm, and this is certainly going to be a healthy dose of snow. And there's another storm coming in here on Friday. Does not seem at this point to be anything like this one as far as the amount of snow goes. But we'll hash that out as we get into the next couple of days. Chris?
All right, meteorologist Mike Seidel. We'll check back with you here in just...
Good afternoon. Welcome back to West Des Moines. This is Winter Storm Ivy. You like a good snowstorm in the middle of the week? I don't know about you, but I've lost track of days because of Christmas being on a Friday. But it is Tuesday, and a lot of folks out shopping, and there's traffic out here on the west side. This is where a lot of the shopping malls are and the restaurants. And look at the roads. The issue right now is, first of all, it's in the low 20s. We're 10 degrees below freezing. And we've got the lowest sun angle of the year. So we're getting little, if any, help from the sun, what radiation would come through the clouds. Look how fast these people are driving. Did you see that guy? Let's see if he spins out. Now, that's front-wheel drive. I mean, look at these guys. Just driving through these banks of snow. I tell you, you got to slow down because... you know, you get too comfortable. But back to the roadways. They're going to be like this until tomorrow. once we get the sun out in the morning and they get the road scraped and plowed and they put down some melting solution or some salt, these roads will be much, much better by noon tomorrow. But in the meantime, we've got the snow and the blowing snow. They average about 35 and change, almost 3 feet of snow a season. They've had over a foot so far. And by the way, the daily record, I just looked this up. Get this, the daily record today is 2 inches. That's the least amount of any record in December. So, needless to say, they have annihilated the record for December 29th. We'll keep you updated. We won't really get an official snowfall total till after 7 p.m. Eastern from the airport. So, Julie, this is the kind of weather that you love if you like snow and cold temperatures. It's not a wet snow. It's a dry snow. It blows around. It's easy to shovel, but not great to drive in. As we've seen just a moment ago, Julie, people are driving way, way too fast. I don't know why everybody's in such a hurry, but, you know, that's their DNA, I guess.
Yeah, there aren't that many places to really go with COVID, right?
No.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. All right,
Exactly.
as we gear up.
West Des Moines, where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel alongside the road, hopefully not too close to the road, because, Mike, I was surprised to see just how fast some of those vehicles were going.
Yeah, it's incredible. Now, they may see the TV camera because you've been out live before, and the TV camera sometimes acts as an idiot magnet. I mean, you know, people just gun their engines or they jump up and down, which is fine. That's their right here in America, but sometimes they just drive a little faster, want to make some noise. Oh, we got another stuck car over here at the come and go rest stop and gas station with the McDonald's. I don't know why she's hanging out the window. That's not really going to help much, but now that car is rear-wheel drive. That's not the kind of car. Is that a Mustang?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a Mustang, and that's not the kind of drive. They're not going anywhere. I mean, they don't have front-wheel drive. They're just going to sit there, and they're going to sit there for a while and until they get a bunch of folks. You want to go over there, Jamie, and see if you can help him out? Jamie's going to go back over there, but it's going to take. When we got the other car stuck, he had front-wheel drive, was not on an incline, and it took 4 or 5 grown adults. I don't know if he's going to try to back out, but this is not the day to be out with cars that don't have all-wheel drive because you're going to get stuck. And just like this car here. Anyway, snow continues to come down. I checked the odds at Des Moines Airport, and between noon and 1, they had 2 inches of snow in 1 hour. Now, that's a pretty hefty snowfall rate. Right now, it's about 1 inch an hour. I just measured 6 inches, and keep in mind, it started snowing about 4 hours ago. So 6 inches in 4 hours, a very hefty snowfall here from Winter Storm Ivy. By the way, Reynolds Wolf is set up in Madison where it's snowing hard too. He's going to be live here on the Weather Channel starting at 5 Eastern. We'll come back with more on this. The next storm and the threat for tornadoes on Thursday. Yes, stay with us here on TWC.
For the
Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Weather Channel coverage of Winter Storm Ivy as we wrap up 2020. Thank goodness we head into 2021. We're going to have another storm, by the way, that will greet some of you in this same area on the first few hours of the new year. We're out here just on 535. Visibility is down to about a half a mile right now. We've had what we call S+ at the airport. Visibility was down to a quarter mile earlier. We had 2 inches in 1 hour. We're 6+ right now. The record for today is a measly 2.0, so we have smashed that record. And we're going to head towards double digits in parts of Iowa. A stretch from here all the way over towards Madison. Reynolds Wolf live in Madison 5 to 9 Eastern tonight. He'll be picking up coverage along with myself here, and you'll see how the snow's coming down there because it's all headed that way. As far as Chicago goes, we're thinking maybe an inch or two, maybe a little mix before it goes over to rain early tomorrow morning, but certainly not the big numbers they're going to have across parts of Wisconsin and here in Iowa. Roads are snow-packed, snow-covered. They plowed them, but like I said earlier, until we get sunshine tomorrow morning, we're not going to see the asphalt. We're not going to see pavement. But tomorrow that sun will do a nice job on it, even though it's going to be cold and even though it's December. So we got more traffic heading this way. What we've noticed is cars driving way too fast for the conditions. And, you know, we're just waiting for someone to spin out here. We've had a couple of cars stuck in this area. And I'm sure there's been numerous spinouts around the Des Moines area and anywhere along I-80, also right off I-35 here on the west side of Des Moines. Temperature right now, 23 degrees. The winds are running about 10 to 12 miles an hour. So we're not dealing with a lot of wind, thankfully, because this snow is like, it's just powder. So if we had wind gusts upwards 25, 30, 35, we'd have blowing and drifting, and that would add a whole nother angle to try and get around in cars this afternoon and this evening. The snow will begin tapering off in a few hours and will end later on this evening. And then tomorrow the sun comes back out, and we'll keep an eye and keep you updated on the changing forecast for this part of the country on storm number 2, the one that starts off tomorrow night and drops what looks like to be a very impressive snow all the way down in Midland and Odessa, Texas. Let's go back to Chris Warren. Chris, 2020 wouldn't be complete without some tornadoes potentially for the last few hours of the year.
Yeah,
you've got more on that severe weather threat coming in on Thursday.
That's right, Mike. And unfortunately, while we're a few minutes, and that is where we find meteorologist Mike Seidel. Mike is in West Des Moines, Iowa, where they're getting and have been getting slammed here by snow. But unfortunately, Mike, we've been seeing people go so fast. And it's one thing to go, fast in a straight line, but trying to make a turn and trying to stop in snow going that fast is extremely difficult, if not impossible.
And also dangerous. Especially with these roads. They're snowpacked, snow-covered. They've been plowed. But again, you're not going to see the bare asphalt or concrete until sometime tomorrow once we get the sun up and we get the snowfall rate to go down. We just had 2 more inches in 1 hour. In the past hour between 2 and 3 Central here in Des Moines. Over here we got the guy with the snowblower at the fast food place and the Quick Stop. Look at that. He's going to be working for a while, but the good thing about this snow, it's powder. So it doesn't clog up the snowblower. When you get heavy, wet snow, it's a hot mess. And this is not a hot mess. He's cutting through it pretty good there. Now, notice the flag there. About a 15-mile-an-hour wind. So we're getting some blowing snow, but not the kind of blowing and drifting we'd have if we had gusts 35 or 40. Then they probably issue a blizzard warning. But we're not going to go there. It's not going to be that windy. But there will be some blowing around as the snow continues to come down. Let me take you back to about an hour ago and check out the convoy of snowplows. I think I caught 6 of them coming off 35, coming our way. And look how they just cleaned off the road. And I think it's the first time they had come down the highway during the storm. So there was like 5 inches of snow on the highway, and it was deep. And 4 went straight, and 2 took a right turn here at Southeast 51st Street. So doing a great job. They've come by again, but it's hard to keep up with a snowfall rate of 1 to 2 inches an hour, but they're doing the best they can. Once it stops and winds down this evening, they'll have a better chance to catch up. And then, speaking of getting stuck in the snow, this gentleman making the right turn, as Chris mentioned, snow at the intersections where you go around the corner. It's, a foot or more deep, and this gentleman got stuck. He did have front-wheel drive. That's better than rear-wheel drive. And we had about 5 or 6 folks push him out, along with one of the West Des Moines officers that pulled over and stopped and helped. So we got him out. And so it goes with this kind of weather. You just got to slow down. And if you don't have all-wheel drive, the best bet is probably just stay home, because if you get into a snowbank, you'll get stuck. And again, that snow is maybe 12 to 8 inches deep. So there you go. That's what's going on here. It's going to keep snowing for a while, and then it will wind down. We may get a little mixed, Julie, this evening, but by and large, just about everything that falls this far north on I-80 will be the snowfall.
Yeah, and people still out driving in it. We want everybody to slow down out there, right, Mike?
Yeah, look at this. Now, well, I don't know. That's marginal. But they don't seem to want to slow down. They're doing 40, 45 miles an hour. The other thing is you got to keep your distance. If you're going to do a faster speed, make sure you got plenty of room. Like this gentleman here, he's got all-wheel to Jeep. He's got plenty of distance. But the other thing, even if you're alone, I've seen this plenty of times. The other day, we were outside of Cleveland, and we saw spin-outs. So you don't hit anybody, which is good, but you spin out into the ditch, and you're going nowhere. Then you got to call a tow truck.
Yep.
So slow down, and you'll save yourself some money. And, I mean, really, what's the rush? Really?
There's nowhere to go.
It's the holidays.
Exactly. Exactly.
No.
Just stay home. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to a very snowy Des Moines, Iowa. We're in West Des Moines. We've had 6 inches plus. The airport has had at least 6. They had 2 inches last hour. Last hour, and then 2 inches earlier this afternoon. So a record snowfall by any means, because the record today is a rather lame 2.0 inches. In fact, of all the record daily snowfalls in December, that's the lowest number. So we've got another car over here stuck where we were earlier. We've got the officer from the West Des Moines Police Department over there, and I think they have front-wheel drive, which is a little bit better than rear-wheel drive, but you can see here, they're going to try to get out. Now, yeah, it's front-wheel spinning around. Last time we helped the driver out about an hour or so ago, it took 4 or 5 grown adults to get him out. I don't know how long this is going to take, but this is what we're dealing with at intersections. The snow's not that deep, you know, a foot deep, but if you don't have all 4 wheels turning at once, you're not going to go anywhere. And plus, you've got some inclines, some hills around here, and this is what you're dealing with. I think the officer, Jamie Morrison's going to need some help. You want to go over there and help him again? Jamie's already gotten 2 cars out. He's doing yeoman's work today. There he goes. But look at the visibility. We're down about a half a mile. The winds at the airport gusting to 23 miles an hour. So we're getting a little blowing of the snow, but we're not going to get anything substantial. You know, if you're getting winds 30, 35, 40 with this kind of consistency, this powder snow, then you're in trouble, especially out here in the Midwest, where it's just wide open and nothing to stop the wind from picking up the snow and blowing it around. So the snow's going to wind down this evening. There is a chance, certainly south of I-80, that we get a little mix with some sleet, maybe a little freezing rain, but I'm not concerned at all about power outages. The roads will open up again tomorrow as far as being able to see the asphalt. Right now, we just have too much snowfall. The rate is too high, an inch or more an hour. Plus, we're getting towards sundown. We don't have any radiation coming out of the sky in another hour or so. So what's going to happen is tomorrow, once the sun comes up, they get the road scraped and they put down some salt. The roads will finally melt off, at least the main thoroughfares. So there they go. Let's go back over there real quick. They got 2. They moved a little bit farther forward, but Julie, this is what you deal with when you come out on a day where you probably should not be driving unless you've got, you know, all-wheel.
Here to Des Moines, where you're not done yet, meteorologist Mike Seidel tracking the conditions for us. Has it picked up here, or we just have a different vantage point of you right now?
It is. It has once again started to snow heavier. We can't see the West Des Moines water tower. That's gone. I can barely see the ramp up to 35. So we're down below a half, about a quarter mile. So this is either moderate or almost S+, what we call heavy snow, and at least an inch an hour. I just did a measurement, and we're now about 7.5 inches, pushing 8 inches of snowfall. That's 4 times the daily record today, but the daily record was only 2 inches. And keep in mind, Des Moines averages just under 3 feet of snow a year. So today alone, they could pick up almost a fourth of their average seasonal snowfall. Travel, not recommended. We've seen a lot of cars stuck in these snow piles at the corners and intersections. If you don't have all-wheel drive, the best bet is sit tight and stay home. The roads are not going to get much better until late tonight when the snow ends and they can plow them. And then tomorrow, we'll get the sunshine, and that will really help things out, although temperatures won't get to freezing. By the way, by Thursday morning, we're going to be down in the single numbers, as cold as it was back on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So we have Winter Storm Ivy, Reynolds Wolf live from Madison starting at 5 Eastern. Plus, we have another storm. We'll update that on the impacts. Midland, Odessa, Texas. Could you get a half a foot of snow? It's possible. We are back in West Des Moines. Look at the snow today. Unbelievable. We are up almost to 8 inches of snow. And yes, we've seen this time and time again. Another vehicle stuck trying to make a turn through the snow that's kind of been plowed at the intersections. Now we've got 2. Oh, this is rear-wheel drive. Not good news when it comes to trying to get traction. Front wheel's better. All-wheel drive's the way to go today. And now we've got 3 grown men trying to get this car out of the snow, but there's a little bit of an elevation there, and we'll see if they can get her out. But this is what we've seen throughout the afternoon. This is the 3rd or 4th car over there that's gotten stuck at that turn. Either they're making a right turn down South 51st or making a right turn to go up to the I-35. I-35 ramp up there in the distance. You can barely see the top of the ramp. Visibility at the airport right now, a quarter mile moderate snow. They're not calling it S+ or heavy snow. And again, almost 8 inches of powder in about 5 hours. In about 5 hours. So it has really been cranking here. And again, the snowfall consistency is powder. At 23 degrees, the snowfall ratios, you know, you're heading up to 15 to 20 to 1. At 32, we often talk about 10 inches of snow to 1 inch of liquid. So the snowfall ratios are very, very high. Here comes another policeman. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's a plow with a flashing light. Here comes somebody else that's going to try to get this car out of the intersection. Meanwhile, we've got other cars backed up behind this vehicle. And eventually they'll get unstuck, but they could get stuck again. Best bet is to sit tight. The roads will be much, much better tomorrow after the sun comes up, and especially after the snow stops falling at 1 to 2 inches an hour. It's been crazy out here, and you can see on the radar we've got a while to go. Now, this evening, oh, there they go. They got them out. Nice job, guys. And off and running, Chris, to wherever they're going. Hopefully they get where they need to go without getting stuck. Little wind, too, right now. We're gusting 20, 25 miles an hour. So there'll be a little blowing and drifting across this part of Iowa. And over towards Wisconsin, too, where Reynolds will be live here in a few minutes at 5 Eastern.
All right, meteorologist Mike Seidel, thanks so much. Meanwhile, as we're tracking this storm, this winter storm,
meteorologist Mike Seidel is live tonight in West Des Moines, Iowa. Mike, snow coming down fast and furious right now for you.
Indeed, and Des Moines has just checked in with another 2 inches in the past hour. So now 4 inches in 2 hours. That's a pretty darn good clip. We're not talking a mountaintop in the Cascades or lake effect. If you get 4 inches in 2 hours, that's a lot of snow. Now, we have one thing going for us, well, a lot of things going for us. The fact of the matter is it's cold, it's 23 degrees, and that means the snowfall ratios are very, very high. You get more snow, more inches of snow out of the same amount of liquid precip. You know, at 32, we talk about a 10-to-1 ratio, but these ratios are 15, 18 to 1. So that's why it's powdery, it's fluffy. It will blow around. Now, our winds are only gusting 20 to 25. I say only. Now, if we had gusts 35, 40, 45, we'd be in big trouble with blowing and significant drifting out here in the Midwest. There's, it's wide open spaces. Speaking of that, that's the I-35 interchange, and coming up behind me, one of these plows. We've seen a lot of plows today. In fact, I can take you back to about 2.5 hours ago. We got out here, and look at this convoy of plows. 6 of them coming down the from the interstate. I don't know if I've ever captured 6 plows in one video clip. Yes, it may be a new record after 30 years of covering snowstorms, but they were doing their thing, and I think it was the first time they'd come down Mill Civic Parkway here off 35 in West Des Moines, because they were clearing a lot of snow. It was about 5 inches on the ground at that point. I've measured 8 out here. The airport, as I mentioned, 2 more, and they're measuring 8 on the ground. They could have had more because there may have been some settling, but 8 inches is 4 times the record for today of 2, but I want to disclaimer that the fact that of all the daily records today, or in December here in Des Moines, 2 inches is the lowest number. So, it's just playing with those numbers. By the way, average snowfall in Des Moines in a winter, just under 3 feet, 35 inches and change. So if they get 10, 12 inches, you're talking about them getting about a third of their seasonal snowfall in one storm. And we'll also take a look at how this ranks for the calendar day in December. Could this be the snowiest calendar day on record in Des Moines? Well, we'll see how it shakes out. Let's go back to Mike Bettis. Mike, powder, not a whole lot of wind, but it's really, really adding up as we go through the afternoon and early evening. But first, let's go to Reynolds Wolf. Reynolds, over in Madison, the snow started later there. It will end later there. What do you got so far on the ground? The corner here and spinning out. We've got some plows here, and this is what you basically see. The guys and gals who cut grass and landscape in the warmer months of the year put blades on their truck and plow the snow during the winter. See if he can get around. He's probably got all-wheel drive. Yep, not bad. Good job. Oh, there goes the back end spinning out. Whoa, look at that. Holy crap. Oh, my gosh. The trailer just went back and forth, but it's still connected. My gosh. Anyway, back here in Des Moines, we've had 4 inches of snow in the past 2 hours. We're now 8+. I did check the snowiest December calendar day on record, 1888, 17 inches. But if we can get over 10.6, it would be number 2. And we have a shot at that because it's going to snow for at least a couple more hours, although it has lightened up. We can see the West Des Moines tower at this point. So our visibility now back up above a mile, Mike Bettis. But I want to tell you, after we get through this one, we've got another storm coming in. And I looked up the Climo in Midland, Texas. and they average 4.8 inches of snowfall a season. Could they double that in one storm tomorrow night and Thursday? Not out of the question.
Hours, Mike. It's going to be amazing to watch, and it wouldn't be 2020 if we didn't end the year with back-to-back snowstorms, right? It looks amazing there in Iowa, that's for sure. Mike, thank you so much, and more updates from Mike coming up here in just a little bit. But we know that we've got one.
Welcome back to the Weather Channel. Meteorologist Mike Seidel in West Des Moines. The snow has backed off in a big way for now. You can see on the radar we're in a bit of a hole. It is going to come back and snow harder again. And a couple of hours from now, we're going to be pretty much done with the accumulating snow. And we've done well. We've had over 8 inches, most of that falling in 5 hours. The convoy of plows just came down. Mill Civic Parkway off 35 in West Des Moines. You can actually see some of the road surface. That's a good thing. And tomorrow, as the sun comes up, by mid to late morning, these roads will melt off very, very nicely. Although temperatures won't get above freezing, we'll have the added advantage of the energy from the sun. Not a whole lot of wind. We've had some gusts 20, 25 miles an hour. That's not going to cause many problems. I-80 is open, but again, the usual caveat, slow down, extra distance. With the snow, even though they've scraped it, you're going to have snow and ice on the roadways tonight. And then tomorrow things will get much, much better. And then there's another storm due in here on Thursday night and Friday. Right now, we're not expecting the amount of snow we've seen here. It's going to be lower amounts, but we may have an issue with sleet and freezing rain with that system, so stay with us. In the meantime, we wrap up the year with a severe weather tornado threat, and to get us started, we'll go back to Atlanta. Alex Wilson, you'll start us off with Wednesday's threat for dangerous thunderstorms.
Yeah, Wednesday, a more focused zone. The threat's really going to go up, we think, as we get into the day Thursday. But